Microsoft released Agent Mode in Excel, Word, and PowerPoint. I want to show you how that works, but I want to take it bigger and show you how it works in Claude and go into that conversation that I keep having all day, every day today around should you move to Claude or should you stay with Copilot. I'm going to run the same example in both, compare the results, and then I'm going to show you something in Copilot that I think can reframe how you think about this question altogether. And I'm going to invite you to do more of this with me in live labs online. So let's jump in. So here I am in Excel, and I've got some data here. I'll open Copilot on the right panel. And the first thing I notice is that there's this new option here, allow editing, plan, or chat only. In chat only mode is the old way. It will just talk to me about the things. Allow editing, it will apply reasoning and think about things, and it can take quite big tasks, not just edit this field or update the formatting here. And plan is where it will tell me what it thinks it should do before it actually does it. I really like that. So I'm going to paste a prompt here that says I've attached our bike sales data for January to April, create an analysis with top insights and charts on how our business is performing. Not my example, I copied it from Microsoft, what they shared online. And I'm going to go plan first and send that through. All right, and it comes back with here's my plan before I make any changes to your workbook. And these are the steps it wants to do. And I will allow it to proceed. I just want to draw your attention to, while it was reasoning, we can see the thinking process, and we can see that it brings analysis skill. It brings skills behind the scenes that they've given it to make it work better with data analysis or with financial modeling or whatever it may be. It's really interesting. All right, so I'm going to say proceed, and now it's going to go and actually execute the plan that it came up with that said create a summary sheet with KPI dashboards, build a monthly trends analysis, create a segment performance breakdown, build a country performance analysis, etc. Now it's going to do it. I could have negotiated the plan, but let's just go with this. All right, so it finished and it created these tables, monthly performance by trends, by segment, by country, by product, education segment, loss-making products we've got here. And it created some charts here. And what I find interesting is if we go through the steps that it went through, it started with creating things. It then went through creating the charts. And then it started adding conditional formatting to highlight the education segment issue that it found and a profit margin comparison. It then went to verify the results. This is very typical agentic behavior. It does the thing, it verifies. It then saw that there's some issues with the date format, and it went the sum if formula isn't matching in the monthly format, so it's starting to correct itself. I'll use some product instead, etc. So it's correcting itself, which I really, really like. So this is what we got with Microsoft Copilot. By the way, this video is edited. It took about almost 10 minutes of wait. Let's go and look at the same example in Claude, and then I'll show you something I think can change how you think about the comparison between the two. So now I'm in a similar spreadsheet, exactly the same data, and instead of opening Copilot, I'm going to open Claude. And this is an add-in that I have installed in my Excel. And I'm going to put the same prompt, and we're going to see what kind of things it's going to do and if it's going to be similar or different and how. All right, so we're seeing that it read the data and it made a plan for itself and it decided to build some Python script. And here are the steps it decided it's going to work through, creating a dashboard sheet, build monthly trends table, performance table, etc. We sped up this video, so this section until now took about just 6 or 7 minutes. Here Claude paused because it needs some permission to clear ranges, to delete data. So I can deny, I can allow once, or I can dangerously always allow. I'm going to go with allow once. So it noticed that it had data over the top of data, and it's clearing that now. Okay, so it's finished creating everything, and now it's giving me some insights. So it's saying some key findings, which I didn't ask, but it's interesting. So it's talking about wild monthly swings, enterprise is the profit engine, education is losing money. Both of them found that. And it's all done. What we're seeing here is the original data. The dashboard it created with a bit of a mess up here that it didn't notice, and a log. This is an interesting one. On this date, this is the prompt I gave it, what actions it took, and some details on that and the outcome. So this is Claude logging in the spreadsheet the work that it's done so that we can remember, or we have this audit trail of when AI intervened in our file. And if I get Claude to do more things on this file, it will add rows to this sheet. So we ran both. Both videos are heavily edited for time. They both took almost 10 minutes each, and I just cut them so that you can see them quickly. Now let's compare the results. Okay, so what I did now is that I took my two files that we got, one from Copilot, one from Claude, and I brought them into one AI, in this occasion Copilot, doesn't matter. And I said I used AI to analyze the data in these two files. I put them in here using this prompt, and I gave the prompt to compare the two files. It would have been better if I said I used AI on these files to achieve what? Is it for the CFO? Is it for, what is it for? But I kept it quite open. And it compared them, and it says the raw data is the same in both files, makes sense. And the workbook structure describes what it finds. But then it goes where they differ. Copilot goes deeper on the why for the education losses. Claude goes deeper on the mix and share analysis by adding the percentage total sales columns. The charts both generated but different framings, and it talks about that, and so on. So which one should you use? Copilot in Excel or Claude in Excel? What are the differences? So we saw that in terms of the quality of the response was very similar. And if I invested a bit more in my prompt to say more clearly what I want and what I'm going to use it for, I'd get a really good response from both of them. Then we saw that Claude had a capability, a feature that Copilot didn't. It automatically logged the activity, the AI activity in the spreadsheet. I think that's awesome. That's fantastic. We really want that. The other thing is that Claude had this capability in Excel for a few months now. And with Copilot, we just received it this week. So there's a few differences. But the differences are not in the quality and the capability. They are in when I get it, how quickly I get it, and if in a given moment, who's got more features. But we know that those features flow through and all the AIs are going to get them at some point. So let me show you something interesting about what Microsoft is doing. So I'm back in my spreadsheet and I've got Copilot open here, and up the top right here, I've got this drop down with GPT 5.4, GPT 5.5, Claude Opus 4.6 and 4.7. And then auto is a mode that will select from these whatever it thinks is most relevant. So it could be that I was comparing Claude and Claude here. It could be, I'm not sure, that Copilot chose Claude for this action, or maybe it chose GPT. We don't know. But I could have forced it to go Claude. Microsoft positioned themselves a bit outside of the race of who's the best AI out there. And they're saying, don't worry about it. We're an aggregator. Use us and you'll always get access to the latest. Yes, you're not going to get all the features and capability because you're using the Microsoft user interface, the Copilot user interface, and they lag. But you're getting the same intelligence of the latest models out there. So what should you use? In a highly regulated environments, I think that you have to make a choice about where you live on the technology adoption curve. Are you an early adopter or are you part of the early and late majority? If you're part of the early and late majority, what I'm seeing is that most stay with Microsoft Copilot, accepting that they will receive all these capabilities a bit later. They are also setting up a lab internally that plays with Claude and with other new things to understand the capabilities and plan for when they're going to arrive at Copilot. The early adopters, yeah, maybe they move to Claude today, they used ChatGPT last year, they're going to use something else next year, and they accept that they're adding another system outside, which is a third party with all the risks and complexities that come with that. It's hard to keep on top of all these things that are happening, and it's so important to put everything to use in your business and to understand what it means. If you want to do this together with other people in professional services, I'm starting an AI club where we have meetups, we work together, we run labs, we update each other, we look at what everyone's doing and see what we can learn from that, and we implement workflows together. We're launching on 20th of May, and the first cohort is limited to 50 people. So if you want to be part of that, inbal.com.au/AI club. Join me.